Brooke Maclean, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the long-term podcast.
We're just happy to be here.
And then, congratulations on the presidency.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Excited to start.
Wrote a lot for it. Or how do speeches like that work?
A platform speech?
Yeah.
So it's basically just like a why me speech, sell yourself speech, say what you want to do, why you're credible, why you want to do this, and essentially say it in front of everyone who's voting. And it's just same process as elections. I guess you try to win people over. So it was pretty much my why me. I kind of outlined like what I wanted to do within my role, my experience in student groups, student leadership, and also balancing like my empathy and those kind of skills along with it as well. And the biggest thing I talked about is that leadership isn't just what you bring to the table, and it's also about how you listen as a leader. And I think that's so important in terms of like not leading with ego and whatnot. So that was one of the main points I highlighted during mine. And I ended up winning. So super happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's dope. I know I've given my fair share of speeches, and usually going into it, like I feel everything's planned out and everything is just, it's going to go as planned, right? But when you get there and everybody's looking at you, it's just like, wow. Was it like in a room? Was it packed?
Yeah, it's actually only online, and you would think that would make the nerves go away, but it's still Zoom meeting. I feel
online's a bit more daunting. I find. I don't know. Like when we had that Psych 405 with Professor Passe, I actually felt a lot more uncomfortable just talking to people there.
Really?
I don't know why. I think it was just because I'm so used to this like in person interaction that it's like a new novel situation. I was like, and it just goes back to like exposure therapy, right?
Right. That's a really good point you raise. I actually think one of the sources like of developing the confidence to be able to do those speeches was that class. Actually, I think it really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it served as a catalyst to developing my public speaking. I had to do it regardless, and I knew even stepping into co-presidency last year, like, okay, you're gonna have to get over your fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
And that class really helped, but I found it was also daunting because everyone in there was so smart. And I was like, I am not referencing the textbook in my written participation. Like, seriously.
I don't know if everyone in that class was smart, though. I think it was just because everybody had a chance to speak. I think that's like the average kind of third year, fourth year student. I think like a lot of people in that class that were in my other classes were like a completely different person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I found that they were just online. People were a lot more brave, I guess. They're a lot more, especially when the cam's not on. Right. I always made it a goal to turn my cam on just so they could, I don't know, just like so they could see me. I think that's
it's courteous.
That's probably what made me more scared too, because like everybody's just behind. They're doing their own thing, and I don't know, but. Yeah, so you mentioned that for a long time you tried to fit a certain mold of success, and I know we were just talking about like feeling and outcome-based goals. What was the turning point that made you realize that you needed to create a path of your own?
Yeah, so the turning point was actually when I started ticking off some of these boxes of what I thought success was.
Was it like actual literal boxes?
It was literal boxes, like, stuff I wrote down in my notes.
Journal?
Yeah, it was stuff I wrote down in my notes. Like, I want this GPA, I want this role, I want, it was a lot of things that they weren't materialistic. It was just more like tangible, quantifiable outcomes, like the title, money, like, I don't know, just stuff like that.
After I hit U of A, check, but like you never take time to go, what does this feel like for me? Right. Yeah. It's like, I'm there. Okay. But is it really for me?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I saw it, is when I started ticking off all these boxes, and then something still felt like it was missing. And even before I had started ticking off those boxes too, I knew I needed to carve out my own path somehow and stop following a template, and learning that other people's goals, successes, their lives, they're not like a template for you to follow exactly. And we can't like get discouraged by not reaching whatever they reached and trying to just do what they did, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm stuttering right now. But
no. Society is just gonna mold you into a certain thing, right? Your parents are gonna have an influence to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And it's within yourself to be able to, find out who you truly are.
Right.
Because it's just, what do you want, right? Like, everybody wants money. Everybody wants to be attractive and successful, but like to an extent, right? How much of that are you willing to sacrifice? Like how much of friends do you want to be involved in your life? Like if you're continuously going to be studying, because I know you're wanting to get into law, right? Like to a certain degree, you need to sacrifice certain things. Now, are you taking the time to assess your feelings, your outcomes? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. And I realized that when I had ticked all these boxes and I hadn't even checked in on myself and asked myself how I felt, how like, sure, like this looks good to other people. Like in my mind, I think, oh, other people see that I did this. They think it's good, but how do I feel about it? And why am I feeling unfulfilled? And I really just took the shift of making less like quantifiable goals and kind of more so these feeling based goals. Like, so instead of, oh, I want to get this career, it's, I want to feel like I'm making a tangible difference. I want to feel appreciated in the workplace. I want to feel like my work has an impact I can see, instead of just saying, I want X title, X job, this qualification. And I think all of those goals just really made me realize the importance of tapping into how I feel and leveraging my wants, even if they don't align with someone else's template of what success looks like. Like I was looking at other people who'd maybe gotten into law, been successful in university, and I was like, oh my God, they had an internship here. I need to do that. I need to volunteer here. I need to do this. I need to get this qualification. And then I'm like, why am I am I even listening to my actual interests? Am I even listening to what I can do? It was like I was telling my brain what it should do instead of considering what it can do. Okay. And that I think will cause burnout and can be detrimental to yourself. And that's when I started to realize like your wants and your innate desires and what you want deep down and your cumulative experiences, don't discount those and don't try to trash those in light of trying to fulfill what someone else's dream life looks like. Like your experiences are valuable. What you want is valuable. You can take inspiration from people. Like the world is a magazine catalog. You can take inspiration from anything, totally fine. But I think when we try to kind of lose ourselves in doing that and trying to be someone else, it just doesn't work and it'll lead to burnout.
Is this like a reflection? Do you do reflections every day, every night? Like how does this work? Can we put this tactically for the viewers that maybe like, they're going to school, maybe they're wanting to get into law or medicine, but like what does feeling based really mean, like to prioritize your feelings? Because you could just go, I don't feel like studying, I'll follow that.
Right. You gotta have a balance, right?
So from your experience, how has that been like?
Good question. So I think you can definitely balance the both of them out, like these outcome-based tangible goals with these feeling-based goals, right? And can't have too much of one, can't have too much of the other. But in order to start tapping into really listening to myself and like establishing these feeling-based goals, instead of saying things like, oh, I want to lose X amount of pounds or whatever, for example, like this unrelated to school. But you'd say like, I want to feel healthy. I want to feel strong. I want to feel like I enjoy my time working out. And in terms of school, it can be, I want to feel like connected to my studies. I want to feel like I'm making a meaningful difference. And it's hard to measure those goals, but just really tapping into like how you actually feel about your work. Like you could be getting the good grades, but if you're not feeling good about your work, like sure, you got a 90 on an essay, but you want to feel like, set the goal of, I feel like I wrote a good essay. I feel like I'm like proud of my work. Like the biggest thing was actually just feeling like I was proud of my work and like, feeling connected to it.
Taking the time to just like step back, right? Like after you're done it, you're just not checking off and then on to the next thing. You actually take time to kind of feel it. Like, what does this feel like? Is this like anger bubbling up? It's like, does it feel hot, like redness in my face? Like, how does this, do I feel gratitude for this? Like, do I actually see myself doing this over and over?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then at a certain point, you just may not feel fulfilled at that endeavor. And maybe you need to take a more time to reflect. Is this for you? Like, are you willing to go through this feeling time and time again? And is it making you a better person? Yeah. And you mentioned something about, what's it called? Creating balance when it comes to all this. Like, how do I, like,
like balance between the two outcome-based goals. And
because like a lot of people in our day and age, like they feel lost. Hey, like it's just with this, because on one hand you want to be successful, right? You want to prioritize the outcome because you want to check those boxes. It does matter. Yeah, objective, right? And then there's the subjective, right? Where, okay, how do I know what's right for me? And sometimes they kind of go against each other, right? Because you could just, if you're just feeling based all the time, that could be, you running away from the things that you need to do.
Yeah, right. Like if I listen to my feelings all the time, I don't even know if I would go to the gym. Like sometimes I don't want to get up and go to the gym anymore. If I listened. So just in terms of like balancing the two kind of goals, right? And how I do that, it's just, they kind of go hand in hand. Like after I tick off a box or after I set a new goal that may be quantifiable or tangible, I really reflect the goal and I like dissect the goal. Like, why do I have this goal? Like, do I have this goal because other people might want me to have this goal or achieve this? Or do I have this because society is like telling me that I need to have this goal? Or like, I just make sure that I'm really authentically connected to the goal. And then that kind of informs the feeling based side of it. And I think like the first thing with goal setting is just making sure you actually want to do that. Like stepping back and saying, okay, I've been told all of these things. We live in a society where like even online, you're being told you have to do this and like hustle culture. And it's like, do I even want this? First of all, check to see if you even want to do that. And then secondly, just find how you can leverage yourself within that goal, like aside from, I don't know, what you've seen other people do with it. Like, I think a goal is just so much more than a number. And I think just those reflections while goal setting and then after you achieve the goal are really meaningful. Like say you raise your GPA, you have to ask yourself, how did I raise my GPA? How did raising my GPA make me feel? Like, what did this teach me about life? What did this teach me about myself? Like, for example, in all honesty, I did very bad like the first 2 years of university. Yeah. I didn't even think that pursuing law school is even like I wanted to, but I was like, I'm doing so bad. I don't understand. It was a learning curve. And I raised my GPA by a significant amount this year. And I'm very, very proud of that. And I look at my transcript and that's not only like a GPA raise. To me, that's a testament to my resilience and to my promises to myself. Like I look at that and I go, I fulfill my promises to myself.
I believe it. Okay, guys, for the 100 plus podcast guests that have been here. Now, Brooke's probably the one of the people up there that prepared intensively, yes. Which is great. And I'm like, if she does this in the pod, I wonder what she's doing in those classes.
Well, yeah, be cooking.
And then no excuses, eh? I know that's like something that we've talked about where, okay, like you mentioned something about kind of reflection and being able to be honest with yourself and authentic. And you had mentioned social media does this to us where we're pulled in all these directions with hustle culture, with diet, different types of diets that work for different types of people. Now, there's what's true to you. And when you see these people that are ultra successful, they've gone through their 20s, their 30s, and now they're millionaires or they're a lawyer, they're a doctor, maybe a successful YouTuber, athlete. And a question I always ask myself is, yes, I see all the success and that's what propagates around all throughout social media. But am I willing to go through all the pain that they went through, right? And okay, if the answer to that is yes, then no excuses, right? Like if I want to be an athlete, I need to make sure I'm showing up for the training. I'm going to bed early. I'm not drinking. I'm gaining that edge. Or maybe the team demands that I go out with them to build the team bonding, right? But at the end of the day, you are the one that chooses your life and no excuses, right? Yeah. On the days where you don't feel like doing it, how do you overcome that urge to just, whatever? Because you had mentioned 2 years within the your undergrad, you thought, I don't like, you didn't do too well. Was there a flip that you just went, okay, I want to be a lawyer. I need to do all these things. How did you come about doing that?
Yeah, like really just making that change and like locking in.
Yeah.
So I had to be real with myself. And I think a lot of us, like there's this quote, it's like, like what you want is in the work you're avoiding, or like the discomfort you're avoiding, and like the realities you have to accept. And I'm like a big believer in like the external locus of control. Like I'm very like, you are in control of your life. I am very privileged. I'll say that. Like I know the playing field isn't equal, but like me, myself, I have the privilege. It's not for everybody. Not everyone can say that. But I'm very much like, you have opportunity everywhere. Go do it. Like suck it up, get it done. And it can be toxic, but I had to confront the reality that I wasn't putting in the full work that I should have been putting in. And I had been honestly lying to myself and making excuses. We tend to put a lot of our shortcomings and on other things and situational factors. Like, and I know we talked about this in that one course we did. Like people are like, oh, like the prof is bad in the class. That's why I did bad. I was somebody like that, honestly.
There's a lot of work.
I was.
And you know what? Okay, after the semester, I was like, it was a lot of work.
Okay, it was. But I know where I fell short in that class, and I knew what I deserved.
But it's like, but if you tell someone, right, like, could you have done more? And if they said, no, that would have been a lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the question, right? Like, yeah, everybody could achieve an A. Like, I'm a firm believer of that.
Yeah.
Like, U of A, it's within university, and you had mentioned that there are people out there, that can't do it. But for us, for the average person, there's so much opportunity.
There is, yeah.
How, like, you talk to so many people, we're on Snap, Instagram, like there's people on Reels. I'm like, it's the same people that are on that app that say, oh, you can't do more. And you know what? I'm part of the problem too. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying I'm still not part of the problem. Every day, there's still, I could be doing more in a lot of aspects, but you also have to balance that with giving yourself grace. And I think even in like nowadays, a lot of people have adopted the I'm not the problem mindset, or like main character syndrome, kind of off topic. But I think that kind of contributes to it too, because
it's horrible.
It just diffuses like accountability. And it's like, oh, I'm not the problem. Like, poor me. And I've been that person, and that's not a way to live life. You don't get successful
if
that
you
way.
Like point fingers, like how are you able to change your actions? Like if you're like, it's that person's fault, or it's this person's fault, then you just you're waiting for the world to just magically make that person come at your feet, whether it be a job opportunity, a romantic gesture, a good grade, right? Like, no, you have to go out there and see it for yourself. And even for the people in unfortunate circumstances, chances are somebody else has lived that life with that same very similar situation, and they've with probably less fortune and have made it successful. You know what I mean? You hear about stories like that all the time. I was just talking I was seeing this guy, his name's Nick or something, but he was born without any limbs, and he's got like a family. I don't know how he has a family. Maybe that part's still there. Yeah.
Good question.
But and he's like a motivational speaker. And I'm like, hear him bitching sometimes, right? Where it's like, fuck the prof, I don't have enough time. My sleep is screwed up. I have to go to work. It's like, no. Like, reframe that.
Yeah. Stop throwing your pity party.
Yeah. It's like nobody in the world has ever told you, me worrying, me like victimizing myself, that was like a superpower, that really got me ahead of life. No, it's usually, victimization. That's really what held me back. Like not taking accountability and not apologizing to friends, family, not apologizing to the things I've done, because the moment you look within yourself and you go, the first 2 years was shit, but I'm no victim, I was up watching Squid Game, watching Severance.
Squid Game. We play our own role in our suffering. And it's so important you also highlight that. I think a lot of the viewers can also feel that as well. We play a big role in our own suffering and can acknowledge that. And like you said, there's someone with less that's doing more than you. And honestly, even hearing stuff like that motivated me. Like, I am in such a privileged position to attend university, to like just have this opportunity, and like, you can rebrand whenever you want. You can work on yourself whenever you want, and you can't put yourself in a box and say, oh, I'm not doing this. Like, poor me. Like, give yourself grace. Yes. But also, gotta balance it out.
So with the need to avoid ego and feeling discomfort, how does that play into your life?
Right. So
like for me, there's times where like I really like the ego, you know, I feel so I'm attached to it. And then I'm like, oh gosh, you know, I'm attaching everything onto that. And then I'm not my grades. Yeah, I'm not. But at the same time, I am my grades. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So are you talking about ego kind of being synonymous with like your self-confidence, your self-concept, and like self-confidence? Because those are different than there's ego, and then there's also like.
Well, the way I see it is like, for me, ego is just like attaching kind of meaning into the things that you do, and like giving it the things that you do give you self-worth, or the things that you are. Like what's your definition? I don't know.
So for ego, I think it's some sort of like, it's a branch of your identity, but it's totally different from your self-concept and your character. And I think ego is not sustainable long-term. You can have an ego, but you cannot have self-confidence and a positive self-concept. Many people have egos without a self-confidence and without a positive self-concept. But if you have a positive self-concept and self-confidence, that's sustainable long-term. That will help you out long-term. Ego is like a very short-term thing that it could help you out sometimes. Like, you need to have a little ego. You honestly, you need to have a little audacity to be successful, but not too much audacity, because people aren't going to like you. And you also have to be a people person to be successful, you know? So I think egos is kind of good in moderation, like branch off of your personality. But at the end of the day, like, it's the long-term, like, self-confidence and like self-assuredness that also just allow you to also admit when you're wrong and also not act on ego. And I think you were talking about, you know, you said discomfort and ego. Can you refresh the question?
Yeah. With facing discomfort when it comes to that, like, how does that play into the whole mindset?
Right. So I think discomfort and like navigating that is essentially just putting my ego to the side and listening to what the actual case is. Like, my ego is going to tell me that I did bad in the class because of that prof, or that this relationship didn't work out because, you know, like, whatever, they fumbled, I'm better, like poor me, like, sucks to be them. Like, that's what the ego is going to tell you. And I think sometimes you need to work around that and be like, no, what's the actual case? Like, sometimes they are the problem. Sometimes they are the problem. And sometimes you're the problem. And you need to kind of dismantle ego in order to identify when it's acting in situations it shouldn't be. Like, sometimes you shouldn't be using your ego to make those decisions. You have to really sit with the discomfort of, no, like, tell yourself what actually happened, not what feels nice to hear, so you can avoid like the real problem.
So the ego's always trying to preserve your self-confidence by making sure it's providing excuses or things to make you feel better when things go wrong. But you need to dismantle the ego. You need to face the discomfort in order to find the truth and actually grow. Because if you just let the ego do all the work, it'll ultimately just cause destruction and mayhem into your life. Did I absorb that correctly?
Yes. And I think you need to be like a lifelong learner. And if you have like too much ego, like, you can't walk around thinking you know everything and thinking you're better than everyone else. Growth never happens. Some people stay in the same mental state for like 50 years of their life because of their ego. Yeah. Because they're not willing to admit that, you know, like, sometimes it's not all about you. Sometimes you don't know everything.
It comes to mind of just, if you're swimming in a pond, like, of course you're just going to be a better swimmer than a lot of people, because especially if you're putting in the work ethic and you're, you know, swimming there all the time with all your frog friends, you know, of course you're going to be the hardest frog there. But if you're going in the, you know, on the beach, the ocean, right? Your ego is going to get tarnished, right? If you see this in a lot of kids that were from high school, and they were the 90s guy. Somebody taps their shoulder in the back and then in class and go, hey, what's the answer? You have homework, and I copy off of it. And of course, you know, everybody's relying on them. They step onto university and wow, like, I'm not the smart kid anymore, you know? And so your ego is like, I'm sure you probably experienced this. I experienced this where it's like, yeah, I'm not all that. I'm just average. Oh my gosh. And it's accepting that and going, yes, I'm average, but what can I do?
Yes. You know? I love that you bring that up, because I think it's so important in the context of like navigating like university and transitioning into the professional world. And it's such I think it's just a way to determine like how successful you're going to be is like how willing you're able to put your ego aside. Because sure, you got the good grades in university, but if you transition into the workplace and you're the youngest person there, you just started working there, you're straight out of university, don't have any practical experience, and you are walking around on your high horse because you got the good grades, you got the job. Nobody in the workplace is going to like you.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody cares. And that's not going to help you advance. People are going to pick up on that very quickly, like that entitlement. And just kind of to put that into perspective, I think I've had a lot of experiences that have led me to dismantle this ego. And like, I'm not perfect. I'm still driven by ego, obviously, a bit. But my current employer actually said that she's dealt with a lot of like articling students like that, because they hadn't like worked a job in school and then just like got to work and like didn't,
everything came easy.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, like this is hard. Like she was like, I had someone complain about like how hard the job was and just like always complain. And she was like, that's just not good character. And like employers notice that. And I think even if you don't have the skills or like credentials, like your ability to like recognize your place and like learn and be open to being in that humble position says a lot. And that's one of the things she actually expressed about like appreciating about me in the workplace. Like I'm not perfect. My ego still drives me, but she said that she dealt with a lot of like individuals like that, like transitioning from university to career. So I think that's something really important to keep in mind. I kind of went off topic, but I think it just really paints a good picture.
Yeah. And I even see this with my personal life and my relationships is if you let the ego rule, you will lose every single friend you have, every single loved one, because, hey, you're always bright and hey, mistakes, not your fault. It's their fault.
Yeah.
And yeah, employers, they sense that. And this brings the idea of two people can have the same degree, like whether it be like master's or even the PhD. And of course, all these things that you do and with studying, it's going to grant more opportunity, open more doors. But one person may reach unsurmountable success, and one person may just, they're just average, right, within that field. And what difference does it like? What is the difference between a person that reaches the top, the echelon of society when it comes to their profession or their craft? And it's being able to recognize their own mistakes and go, yeah, I'm not the best thing, I'm not a lot. And, don't get me wrong, a lot of people still do reach success with full on ego,
Yeah, you gotta have it a bit. And it's annoying because you're like, oh, okay.
Like we need some of those people too.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, realizing that there's no one path to success is crucial. How did you manage the feelings of comparison and falling behind when it seemed like everyone else had it all figured out?
Right. Okay. So, this was a hard realization for me too, because I struggle with perfectionism a lot. And in my mind, I'm like, I need to do this by then. I need to have it this way. And like, I think like avoiding that comparison is just realizing the value in your own experiences, even your own shortcomings. And how even realizing your own shortcomings and coming to terms with them says a lot about yourself as well. And I find I would kind of just discount like the fact that I wasn't always successful academically. I like didn't like that I had to work in school, and I felt like I got to university and everybody, like a lot of people don't work in school and they're like, oh no, I don't work because I'm in university. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm jealous of you. What do you mean? So I would be so bitter, and I just didn't like that. I also like didn't have like an internship kind of job, or I just, I like discounted all these experiences and I thought they weren't relevant to my personal development at all. I was like, okay, like I'm clocking in at McDonald's when I'm 16. Like, what does this mean? But now I look back and I'm like, I think all the jobs I've had are just kind of a testament to like my resilience and being able to like work hard long term, and it like just instilled this like work ethic in me that I finally have seen just like this year. Really, like I came to terms with it, like, wow, I actually work really hard. Like I always thought I wasn't doing enough, and I realized like the value of my own individual journey and stopped using others as like a template or some sort of like threshold to compare myself to, like, okay, if I have this position like this person, or this person's in this many clubs or whatever, gets this grade, like then I'll be fine. Like other people's successes are not markers for your own success. Like you can look up to them, but I think it's just really stepping back and realizing how valuable your individual journey is. And it's hard to take value out of that sometimes, because even if we're told it's not valuable, you know, but you can pull value from all of that. Like, yeah, I can talk about how I worked, like, I don't know, 30 hours a week at 16 years old at McDonald's in my interview at the law firm.
30 hours.
Yeah, I was working full time. And then, yeah, even though some people might like think that experience isn't relevant to industry, like you have to be able to make those connections in life. Like I think a lot of people like discount their own journey and experience. And I think that's what like I stopped doing that really helped me stop comparing. And is that you are not on a timeline. Like this is your life, and you're going to lose out on so much, like trying to make it like someone else's or comparing it to someone else. Cause like sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. And something I also ask myself is like, maybe you don't realize your success because you're always setting the bar higher. And that's a double-edged sword. Like it's so good to set the bar higher and higher. But then again, it's like you're comparing yourself to other people and you're never happy with yourself. And it's like, I've struggled with balancing between setting the bar higher and then also recognizing where I'm at. Like, I don't know if you can attest to that. Like, even one of my friends told me that, she was like, Brooke, like, I realized you're someone who sets the bar. Like, you always set the bar higher, and like, you need to step back and like realize you're actually doing well.
It's like the moving goalpost, right? It's always just going to be something better after you get through it. And when it comes to comparing to people that have made it, it's like, they're already in chapter 30. So you're still in chapter 4. You know what I mean? And for a lot of people, it takes away from their fulfillment and happiness when they go, yes, I've finished my degree, or yes, I've made this much money, or I've acquired this new house, or I've gotten engaged or married, but I still don't have this. Right. But no, but that just takes it away. And if you keep doing that throughout your entire life, you're just going to look back, and it's just going to be a never ending endeavor of just competing with everyone. And the way I've kind of reframed my mind on comparison with people is, yes, it's a good barometer, because if you didn't have other people, then what is healthy, what is rich, what is good, what is like a good grade, you wouldn't know. But you can't let that be your entire self-worth. And you have to look at yourself from a year ago. You know, you have to like really see the growth. Because if you're on a downward trajectory, like you'll see that, and maybe you should do something about it. And it's a good barometer for you to captivate yourself for authenticity, for growth, for intellectual curiosity, for grades. And it's just, but you can't take away your own feelings from the act, like the progress and the rewards that you get. Don't take that away, because that's what makes us human. That's what makes us, feel whole. Because like I don't know, I'm guilty of this all the time, is where I accomplish a certain thing and it's just, I don't feel that it's something worth boasting about. Like, yes, there's the ego, and then the opposite of that is just kind of self-destruction, or just the negative self-talk of going, but it's not really, you've done it so long, where you've put in the hours of working out, or you've put in the time studying, and you don't really recognize that. But then when a friend points it out, you're like, wow, like I'm that, I have that, I carry that identity. And it's like, you pattern recognize it, and you go, yeah, actually, it's pretty hardcore what I do, and then you smile about it a little bit, and that's great. And you don't want to get it too high, because then you're just like, comfortable. Yeah. It's just like that good medium of just growth and being content. What advice would you give to someone who feels like they don't fit the traditional or expected path, but they still want to succeed?
Right. This is easier said than done. Very general, but honestly, you can rebrand whenever you want, and you have to stop like putting yourself in a box of what you can and can't do, unless it's like a legitimate, like you physically are unable to do that. And again, I understand like societal limitations and whatnot, but I think all of us like cling on to like our perceived faults and like immediately, like, we don't want to do things we're not good at. And we also are going to assume we're never going to be good at them. And that takes away from so much of our potential. And just because you started out rough doesn't mean it can't get better. And I think a lot of people just perceive that as you're never going to make it. And I think, forget that. You can wake up tomorrow and choose to reinvent your entire life. And matter of fact, I did do that. Because if you talk to anybody from high school, I was not really like anything like I was now. Like, I got like relatively good grades. Yeah. But it's just like, someone from high school would be like, oh, like, this is what Brooke is doing now. Like, she's posting all this like club stuff and not being like, oh my God, I'm so accomplished now. Not like that. Yes, but I wasn't known as like,
if we went to the high school, we'd probably be in the same party.
Yeah. you can have balance. I wasn't like a degenerate. I was a degenerate.
I was a degenerate.
Okay. No, I wasn't that bad, but I feel like a lot of people say I'm like doing like too much because I'm very passionate about school and very involved, but I also like will be real and say, in high school, I wasn't like that. In high school, I wouldn't even speak in class. First year university, I wouldn't even speak in class. And now I have to public speak to people like, I don't know, like 70 plus people I have before. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Oh, you can just reinvent your life. Like, yeah, you're like, you can say, oh, I'm bad at public speaking. I hate doing it. Most people hate doing it. Go do it.
I think it's like the number one fear, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And that's my advice. Like, if you don't have the traditional path, you can carve your way and give yourself the seat at the table. Don't wait for someone to pull out the chair for you. I think we wait for people to pull out the chair, and we also let other people assign like the chair, if that makes sense. Like, we let other people's opinions and like what we should do, like influence like where we sit or whether we even get a chair, like weird metaphor. But even like I have this weird metaphor of like noted in my notes before about like life being like a canvas kind of, and like we can't like let other people like hold the brush. Like sometimes let other people like hold the brush and like also try to, you know, like you don't want to look like every other painting. You don't want to let someone hold the brush for your painting, and you will lose out on so much of your life doing that. And like, just because you don't fit the traditional path, so what? That's actually an advantage, because like different perspectives are where innovation comes in and where new ideas come in and where change actually happens. So I think you just have to milk out like the advantages of your different perspective instead of viewing it as like a weakness that you didn't come from a traditional path. It's like, okay, you can't control the cards you've been dealt. Like, I'm just rapid firing ideas right now. Sorry, ADHD.
No, it's great. No.
But you can't deal the cards you've been dealt, but you can choose like how you go about them. Like, don't sit around like, oh, I can't do this because of this. Like, sure, you can't choose some of those, but you can choose how you react to it. And life like is essentially an accumulation of how you react to things. And you just have to be mindful of that and give yourself grace of like the disadvantages you face for sure. But you can reinvent yourself whenever. And it's actually an advantage not having a traditional path, because it created like unique resilience.
Yeah, you don't want to be normies out there, right? Just NPCs. You got to make sure you take the other way to work. Maybe take the longer route, or just not walk in the same line. And it's tough because we're constantly being pulled to that with the wave, you know, but sometimes you got to go against it to reach the other side, where a lot of people aren't willing to do it. But then a lot of people are going to drag you down. It's like the metaphor with the crabs in the bucket.
Oh my God, yes.
I've heard that so many times. Where it's like you put a bunch of crabs in the bucket, and they can just all escape if they just like all climb together in unison, and then just one by one. Because I think can they stick to the I don't know, but
so is it like a misery loves company kind of thing? Like people like, you know, that
but I think but the crabs, whenever one is almost out, the one underneath them would pull them down. Yeah, you know, like a lot of, and you know what? In my life, a lot of people do that because they don't want to see you change. Like the moment I stopped drinking like a couple of years back, I think.
Congratulations.
No, it's not like I had a problem.
No, not like you had a problem, but it's like
I just didn't want to drink anymore.
It's good. Like not to say it's bad, but
I had some friends, you know, like I was the crab trying to escape the bucket, and they're like, you know, trying to drag me down. But it's like, and I'm sure you noticed this with like if you want to study, right? Like, Brooke, you know, just like let's, you know, everyone's out right now, you know, so you constantly have to be like, no, I have to, okay, like you have to go against the grain a lot of the time, but like balance, right? Because you can't just do this all the time and then you don't have any friends, you know?
Yeah, it's hard. People take it personal. So I love my friends, but I gotta say no.
The way I see it is I like to have friends that just normally like to do the things that I do, like running or like working out, or like, I don't like studying, but like I like to have friends that like to study because it gives me something to hope for or to learn something from. Yes. Like I want to be friends with people that are better than me. So then I want to learn, because like being in a room where you're just like the smartest person, you're just never, it's like the frog in the pond, you know, you're never facing all the other ones out there, like the bullfrogs, if you're just in the tiny little pond.
Yeah, I love how you raised that point, because I've actually told people this recently. Like things that I live by are, you are like the 5 people you hang around the most. I don't care. I will judge you by your friends. I will, because if you say, oh, my friend's just like that, like he's kind of weird, why do you hang out with someone like that then? Like why do you identify with that?
Your best friend is just sniffing coke in the wash.
Cheat on his girlfriend.
Cheat on his girlfriend.
He's just kind of a dog, you know.
Out. You know, it's okay. It's just like, Jimmy, you know. You guys hang out all the time, you know. Eventually, right? You just adopt like certain traits, and then you just think, like, I used to never talk to this guy at the gym, and lately we've been really good buddies because he just jokes a bunch, and I used to not find his jokes funny. I just, you know,
were they like racist and sexist?
Some of them, you know.
He's like, oh, I just like dark humor, man.
But some of them. But like, you know, lately, the more time I hung out with them, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of growing on me. Next thing you know,
you're like walking around the street,
I kind of sway it a little bit, you know. But it's just like the more time you spend with someone, you just like, you adopt their humor, you adopt their demeanor, the way they say certain things. Like I used to have this buddy that went, man, I feel dangerous. I'm like, what does that mean? And then
dangerous.
I guess you just, you know, you always
like, I'm feeling dangerous tonight.
Yeah, I feel really dangerous tonight.
No, you do, yeah.
And then I kind of just adopted it. And
it's
then
scary.
It's crazy. And then I noticed some of the things that I did, my friends would just say that too. Like I say long term a lot, you know, and people would just say, keep it long term, you know, long term. And it's like, I'm going to study, or I'm going to this. And it's just like, people just expect you to do certain things just based on your actions. And at the same time, it reflects to them. And then it's just bounce back and forth. And some stick, some don't. But one thing is true is some of their traits will stick with you, you know, which, you know, it's tough.
Yeah. And it really just brings to light the importance of finding the people in your circle that motivate you. Like I want to be around people who are helping me level up. Like that's not like their purpose. Like you have friends to like pour into them as well. But if you aren't like helping me and inspiring me, like, you know, like why would I want to be around you? You know, like, I mean, there's more to friendship than that, but it's so important to like be friends with people like that, or like, especially in relationships. Like I think a lot of people get into relationships where they don't, like, they might get pulled down, you know? And I think it's just, you have to be careful about who you spend your time with, even if they don't overtly seem like a, you know, like degenerate of a person or like make bad jokes. Like even them having a negative attitude can really rub off on you and affect you. If they're walking around hating on people, what are you going to do? Like, even if you don't like mean to pick up on that, like
the Freudian
be
stuff.
So careful. Yeah. To be careful.
Unconscious, is all in there.
Exactly.
You said that acknowledging what you don't know is just as powerful as being confident. Can you share a moment where embracing discomfort opened a major opportunity for you?
Right. So I think even going to university and trying to get involved in things, because like, I guess we just talked about earlier, like I wasn't like that in high school. I didn't do Model UN in high school. Like I wouldn't talk in high school. No, I didn't do
If you could go back, would you have done it?
No, because I think I needed that experience to lock in like now and like learn what I did in university. Like I'm very much like everything happened when it did for a reason kind of person. True. I needed that time in high school too.
So you wouldn't go back and like right now, if I said, hey, Brooke, proven, like if you just follow these steps, you can go back 10 years right now, and then everything will be changed.
No, I wouldn't, because I don't know. I'm happy with where I'm at now. Well, like not fully happy. I got to still do a lot more.
Of course.
I think everything played out how it did for a reason. Like I needed the good and the bad. Like I needed those failures. I needed to be humbled. I needed to learn stuff about myself, because I think I've looked at everything like a learning opportunity, even if it's bad. Like, okay, I got fired from a job. Say I got fired from a job, or say I didn't get a job offer after an interview. okay, like this is teaching me something. This might not be meant for me. And not in a delusional way, being like, oh, it's not meant for me. Like I'm aligned with something higher. Not like that. But it's going to teach you something regardless. And if you pull like that deeper meaning and that deeper opportunity for learning out of every like life incidents, like I think you'll do a lot better. And like, honestly, I can't say that for everything. Like take it with a grain of salt. Like if you're like parent dies or something, you're not going to be like, oh, like what am I going to learn about this in the moment? I understand.
It teaches you about maybe not directly, you know, that like the act itself during it's not going to teach you anything, but maybe it teaches you to not take people for granted. Like
that's a good point.
My dog just died, and it was terrible. And for like, and my entire family a week in, like we were all planning it, and I thought I was a psychopath because I was just like not feeling anything.
You weren't feeling it.
I was like, yeah, it's time to go. Just a dog.
It's time to go. It's just a dog, and then it hits.
Yeah. And then it's the day of, and whole family's crying. My brother's crying, sister, and they're like whales, man. I was like, oh my God.
You're just like, oh, I'm like,
wow,
guys.
That's like a really ugly cry. But I love my family, but they're all crying.
Do I have to go downstairs and tell them this right now? You're hating?
No, I told. I'm authentic like that. But yeah, I was tasked with driving, and my mom was in the as we were loading up Nito. Nito was my black dog, and he was great, and he was always just there for you. Never really complained. You know, he barked a bunch, but he's just never really showed any anger in his heart. Like he showed a lot of embarrassment and a lot of guilt, but he always just had compassion. And you know, I took this for granted, and I just for the longest time I just, you know, whenever I'd walk by, because he'd be barking that day, and you know, I had a midterm that day, and like, he fucked up my sleep, so I blame Nito, you know, and he's just a dog. He's just trying to protect the house. And as he was getting in the van, and he didn't know what was going on, right? He was just, because he had lost function of both his legs and the hind, and it was really tough, and he was defecating and peeing everywhere. It was really sad, and all the memories just flooded in, and I just thought of all the moments, like when I'd be in high school, and he'd like try to, you know, to bite me in a playful way, you know, and then we'd run around, you know, I couldn't control myself driving there. I'm looking back, and he's just, you know, like can control his just breathing because his heart was really heavy. And then as a really tough experience, we get there, and it was just, I couldn't stop myself. Just like just floodgates were open. And yeah, we're in that room, and then the vet, there was really nice in Sherwood Park. Forget what it was called, but
like good review.
Great review.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave them a great review. It was, they were really understanding, and just all these memories came up, and there's so many regrets and so many happy memories, and it was a great experience. And then it kind of traumatized me a little bit, because I don't want to I want to feel like this. But within that pain, I've realized that, wow, I'm actually kind of pissy with still have another dog too. His name is Milo. And I'm like, I need to be more kind to them, and my family, like my brother, like I need to be understanding more, and I need to actually give time, even if it's just like a little bit. And like at the moment, like I'm just like, oh gosh, you know, I didn't really think anything. Wouldn't learn from this. It's just death, right? But like a death of a loved one can teach you a lot, and that's just going on about that. And I just, now there's like the little fragments in me that I've actually learned a lot from that experience. Just talking to my brother, like whenever I see him, I used to just have a lot of resentment in my heart, just because I just felt like, you know, I want him to be molded in my expectations of him. Right. But then I just kind of view him as, okay, I'm just going to love you for who you are. You know, like, yes, of course I want to motivate you, and I want you to live a great life. But what I've learned from my dog is like, they're just doing the best that they can. But yeah, that's
interesting you draw that lesson, because I just said like, I don't expect you to be like, what am I going to learn about this experience in the moment when someone passed away? But it shifts your perspective on those things. And even now, like going home, like I'm not going to walk past my dog without petting him now. Like I feel like that.
What kind of dog you got?
He's a border collie, Australian shepherd, and husky mix. So he's really pretty. He has blue eyes. He's kind of big. Yeah, he's huge. Yeah. He is the best dog ever. His name is Buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah, he's everyone's buddy. Yeah, he's so kind, and he could be a model dog too. Like he's
friendly.
Yeah, very friendly. Like he could literally be one of those therapy dogs at the U of A.
Oh,
like
wow.
he is such a people person. He loves people.
Bring him, bring Buddy to cab one of these days.
Oh yeah, I should. I'm like, hey, he's allowed here actually.
You seen that guy that always brings his dog all around? There's a guy always passes by a cab. He's bringing this big fluffy like Great Pyrenees, I think.
Oh,
yeah, it's so massive.
Cute. I love that. Dogs are really, they're such a blessing. And I think when you get busy, you forget you're like, stop barking, like, don't be annoying. And it's like,
I'm trying to study here.
But
then they're in their heads, they're like, I just want love. I just want I just want you to pet me. I just want you to be in my company. I just want to be in your company. Yeah. And it's like, we get so caught up that it's just like, you forget the things that truly matter. Like, what are we doing all this for? Like success and money and status. It's ultimately for our connections with people, Yeah.
Oh, that makes me, it makes me rethink. I think there's a trend online right now. It's like, it's almost like this is the whole point or something. And it's like some corny video.
No, I've seen that. Those? Yeah. I've seen this guy's just like, I'm like, why does this have 1 million likes? And then he taps it and then it faces like a meal, like chicken nuggets and fries and like a black and a white container. And I'm like, what?
Oh, I didn't get those.
This is the meaning of life.
No, I was seeing like the actual like whole,some ones where it was like people laughing with their friends or like they recorded a sunset and it's like, I forgot that this is the whole point. And it just, I think it's supposed to remind people to like, remember this, life isn't all about this, like take a step back and like actually live in the moment. Like we don't really live in the moment anymore. And that's true. It's sad. And I honestly don't even know if I answered your original question. Like I don't even know what I asked. I think you asked about like some experience that I don't even know, but tangents, love it.
How do you stay curious and motivated to keep learning, especially when you're juggling so many responsibilities?
The weight of existential dread. No, just kidding. No, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people struggle with this if they're like super ambitious or have a lot of interest. Like there's so much to learn that I see opportunity in everything. So I just kind of like go after everything all at once. And sometimes that like doesn't work out and sometimes it does work out. But I found like just knowing the fact that like there's so much opportunity in everything, there's so much out there for you to learn is enough drive for me to really stay on top of things and kind of ditching like the means to an end approach. Like I think a lot of people are like, oh, like I want to paint, I want to read, but they like want that because they want to be like associated with the identity of like people who paint or read, or they want to like look like they're cooler. But it's like, no, do something you actually enjoy and like take away the end part of it. And I really started asking myself, like, what do I actually want to do? Like, what makes me lose track of time? Like I try to find things that make me lose track of time and that I'm not like overly focused on the outcome, like just for the sake of intrinsic learning. I've really like gone full into that and kind of tried to ditch the outcome and just test it and see what I'm good at and what I like doing. And just if that kind of makes sense, just trying whatever and like
everybody focusing on the outcome. Everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants the process.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, because 99% of everything that we do, it's just going to be majority of it, just like those tedious, monotonous things of just, okay, when it comes to studying, right? It's just, and then the speech, it's the meetings, it's the practices, it's like the little things all that count. But then people glorify those the PhD, right? Or the law school. But when it comes to that, it's all about the grind, the process.
The process. I think we forget how bad it actually can be, and it's really glorified online. And in terms of balance, like I won't lie and sit here and pretend like I've had balance for the last little bit. Like I haven't, and I think you should have balance for sure. But it is really hard to like do all these things at once, honestly, and like not like do all these like professional things, I guess, but it's just like kind of nurturing every aspect of your life. It's like, okay, you have to like exercise, and then you also have to like do something intellectually stimulating, and you have to do your career, and then you have to do something creatively stimulating. So finding that balance has been a learning curve. And honestly, I'm still not there yet. Yeah. But it's just about like jumping at every opportunity I have. Whether it's professional or like, I think it's just intellectually stimulating. Like I'll take something away from it, and I always want to know more. Like I always want to know more. And just being open-minded too. Like a lot of people are like, oh, like I'm not trying that, or I'm not into that. And like, I don't love people like that. Like, I don't know, if you don't want to do something, like totally, like I respect your opinion, but I think you should just be like a little bit open-minded to everything. Like you never know, truly never know.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you don't know what it's going to be like until you're there. Like a lot of people, they like the idea of like being a doctor, but are you going to do you want 12 years of school, or you want to be an influencer? A lot of, I think it's the most popular occupation or dream job for like Gen Z.
Influencer?
Yeah, influencer. Like if you ask the average kid what they want to be, they'll say they want to be some sort of influencer, like a YouTuber or just maybe a model on Instagram.
What do you think about that?
I think it's terrible.
I think it's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. I think it's just destructive. Like if we're all, it's very narcissistic. I don't know.
It is.
Like,
and we're selling the idea of like this, successful dream, like fame. Like you don't need to like do anything intellectually stimulating. Not to say influencers don't do anything intellectually stimulating, but, and to each their own. You can do school, you can do trades, but influencer, like.
Yeah, you should, like, I'd be a lot happier if it was like a doctor or like an astronaut, something to aspire to be. Because when you're a kid, like I don't remember, like maybe when I was in middle school, like wanting to be a gamer, but it wasn't like a real thing. It was just like a back burner, like it wasn't like realistic. Like, and my parents instilled that in me, because I think we're just like in a society right now where like everything that we see is just from influencer based, like TikTok, like to be, you got to make it an algorithm, and like Mr. Beast did it.
That's so concerning.
Yeah,
that's so concerning.
But it's really tough. What has discomfort taught you about yourself that comfort never could?
I think embracing discomfort and facing it has really given me trust in myself to set big goals that I would have never had if I just like stayed within my bubble. Like the more you're in uncomfortable situations where you really try to go after something, even if you don't feel qualified for it, even if you feel scared to do it, or it's just terrifying, like public speaking, like applying for something you're not qualified for, like anything out of your comfort zone. I think even if it doesn't work out, it taught you that, okay, you can do it. And it also allows you, like, you can try it and you can also fail at it and you're going to be fine. But then when it does work out, it's reinforced, like, oh, I can actually do this. And sometimes it works out. I'm going to do more things like this. I'm going to keep going out of my comfort zone. I'm going to go even more. And like you tap into your potential, the more and more you go after things you're honestly like uncomfortable doing, or that seems scary to you, because you realize what you can do. Because our mind, like it's so limiting. We put ourselves in that box, like, okay, I can't do it. And then I tried these things that I thought I couldn't do. And then I was like, wait, like I can do it. What else can I do? Like what else is actually good? So I think it's allowed me to build like that self-confidence and self-trust with myself that I would have never been able to build, and allowed me to dream so big because I've seen the results of me going out of my comfort zone and setting those goals. And then I'm like, okay, I can do more. Like I can do it because I said I was going to do that. And I did it. Like I said, I was going to get my GPA up and I did it. Like I said, I was going to get involved at school. And like now a lot of people like know me for that. And like, I'm really on that. And a lot of like my friends are like, oh my God, Brooke, like you're always like working. Like, do you ever like take time off, or like you're always grinding? Like you like actually tap into your potential. And I'm like, wow, I did. And that just, it's created this new level of trust with myself. And I think everyone needs to have that level of trust with yourself. And I think a lot of people like on self-help, like videos and in books always talk about how like confidence isn't saying, it's doing, and it's doing things when you're uncertain. And because it creates that trust with yourself. And that's what discomfort has taught me. And like, also it's taught me to like improve in a way that's like allowed me to actually, because I'm reflecting on like where I fall short. Like if you're uncomfortable and come to the fact that like, you're not working as hard as you should be, instead of blaming it on other people, like it really allows you to level up, and be like, okay, I'll admit it. I'm not grinding as hard as I should be. I'm slacking the fuck off right now. How are we going to get past that? How are we going to get past that? How are we going to innovate out of this? Like, what can I do to like get out of this? Like accepting is like the first step, obviously, to getting out of that. So I think that's what that taught me, that staying in my comfort zone, like really wouldn't, like, if honestly, if everything I did was on the basis of whether I was comfortable doing it or not, or felt qualified to do it or not, I would be doing like nothing. Like if I listened to like the like voice in my head that was telling me like, you're not qualified for that, like they're going to think this, like don't say that, it's stupid. Like I would literally do nothing. And that's so unfortunate. It's just like a lot of people overthink things. And I didn't need to overthink it that much. You just need to do it. Like, there's also other thing with like people, there's people less qualified than you doing more than you because you're too scared to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And that was enough for me. That's just one of those like things I hear and I'm like, okay, let me lock it. I'm sure you've had your own experiences with that, but it's just being honest with yourself and being like, hey, I know where I'm falling short. And a lot of time, like you can be the problem in your own suffering, you know, you got to recognize that and level up from it.
Well, the trust you had mentioned about you set a plan and it's all really clear, right? When you're jotting it on your journal and you're telling your friends that, yeah, I'm going to sign up for that marathon, or I'm going to email that professor, or if I don't get a reply, I'm going to go to his office and see if I can, you know, get into the research or get into that club and run for president. But it's another thing to actually do it. Because like within the hustle culture, and I know you're also in the sphere of listening to a bunch of podcasts like Mel Robbins.
I love Mel Robbins, just like my girl.
I love her the message at the end, like, you are loved, you are worth it. I eat that shit up.
She clocks you though. Like I'll be listening in the morning, I'm like, damn, you know what? You're right. She
calls you out.
She does. Yeah, really does.
Okay, within that culture though, like the self-improvement sphere, there's always that, like, you can think about all these success and you can manifest it, but unless you actually do something, you know, it's all just fluff. Like right now, you and I can sit here and talk about what it's like to be a good person, what it's like to have the mindset. But if you and I don't build the resume, you know, don't build kind of who we are, shape the identity, we're just lying to ourselves, you know? And it's building that, and to be authentic, to be truly authentic and live a life that's true to you, you need to prove that with action. And within action, you know, you can, there's this quote with Alex Hormozy is, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Right? You are. And the way I see it with trust too is, if you tell yourself that you're gonna go and work out tomorrow, that day comes, you don't work out. What's that doing to your inner trust? Like the next time you establish a plan of working out, like you're not just, it's like a friend that made plans with you. First time, okay, they're busy. Second time, it's a coincidence. Third time, okay, it's a pattern. When I invite this friend, I'm not gonna expect them to show up.
Right.
It's the same thing with you, is if you tell yourself you're gonna study once, okay, life's tough. Second time, all right, coincidence. Third time, I'm the person that makes plans and I fall short. And there's this quote by James Clear of, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. It's like everybody's got the same goals, right? Everybody wants to be someone to get that reward, but going back to kind of the grind, the hustle, like, are you willing to have the systems in place, the habits?
Right. That's such an important point to raise. And it's easy to do all that talk. It's easy to like indulge in like the commodified self-care and like act like you're on your grind and say like, I shout affirmations at the mirror. Like, I don't know, these people on TikTok get on and they like think if they're doing a cold shower, like sitting in the ice bath. Have you seen that guy?
I've seen that. He breaks the ice.
He sits in it for like 5 seconds. And I'm like, what does this have to do with actual like long-term? Like, this is just so performative and it like has nothing to do with actual, like, sure, like good habits are good for you.
Probably dopamine. It's great for your mental health, right?
Yeah, I don't argue that. But it's not the cheat code. Like you can like, it's this whole like cold showers, like affirmations at the mirror. Like, I don't think that's like real like success and like confidence building. Sure, it's like a small like branch off of like having a routine. But like you said, like you need to actually follow through on what you're doing. And like, there's a lot of promises I haven't made to myself because I'm like overly ambitious and I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do this. So like navigating that's hard. But there's a lot of promises I have. And like those inform my other goals where I'm like, I know I can do this because I said I was going to do it. And I did do it. It's like, you need to treat yourself like a friend that you want to rely on. Right. And you can learn that lesson the hard way early on, or you can go throughout your whole life telling yourself like, oh, you know, it's okay. It's fine. I didn't go to the gym today.
Yeah. And, or you mentioned that, I'm actually part of the cold shower kind of ice bath. So I took offense. No, I'm kidding. But
I should probably do.
No, you should. It's so good. It's just, it makes you really, really euphoric. But then again, it's not going to make you money. It's not going to, it's not going to make you study. You know, if you really don't want to, maybe it'll lubricate things, make it easy. But it reminded me of like a person, you know, that person that like got all the highlighters, they take really good notes, and they're doing all these things. They're sharpening everything. They've got like 3 screens, and you'd expect that they'd have a good grade or they'd learn a lot, but they get like a D or something.
Yeah, because you're focused on the wrong things.
Yeah, you're focusing on the preparation. You're not focusing on the meats of it. You know, it's like there's so many people like that where it's like, I'm gonna dress the part. I'm gonna just look. I'm gonna prepare for it as best as I can, but you're not actually preparing it in the sense where the outcomes are what you want. Like if your outcome was to look like you've got it together, maybe, you know, having the highlighters and the sharpener and wearing a suit every day will be it. But if your outcome is wanting to be successful and wanting to get a good grade and wanting to get into the school or getting that sponsorship, that scholarship, then maybe, you know, writing the essay would be better. And actually, I want to read you this thing by it's called Do the Thing. I think you've probably heard of this. What was it? It was I Save a Lot of This Stuff by Shroop.
Yeah, I know you have some good recommendations for books, podcasts.
Shroop. Oh gosh, usually I have them ready and then I just bring them out.
It's like a book or a quote?
It's this like essay.
Oh, interesting. Like just like a short form, like
I gotta
essay to
do the
treat.
Okay, usually I just find it right away because since I've there it is. Okay. Things That Aren't Doing the Thing by Strangest Loop. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about you're going to do the thing isn't going to do the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how to do the thing isn't doing the thing. And reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading this essay isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
Can you please send me that?
So I love it.
Wow. I think that sums up a majority of like what our conversation has been. Like a lot of our points circle back to that. Like blaming it on other things isn't doing the thing. Like focusing on like why you can't do it isn't the thing. Making the list or like ignoring the process. That's not doing the thing. That's so important. And I think everyone needs to hear that.
I'm guilty of this myself where I'll talk about a plan, something that I'm going to do, and I've just all the energy and all the enthusiasm just is sapped away because it feels like I've already done the thing.
Right.
You know, like when you tell people, oh yeah, I'm going to study all this much, and then you come down to studying and it's like, yeah, I actually I didn't study. I told you about it though, and everybody already congratulated you. And it's all this, it's like you already won the reward and you didn't even put anything.
It's a mind thing. And do you find like that's because people have an issue with like setting the bar too high, or just because it feels good to say you're going to do it and gives us a false illusion?
I think it's socially where majority of the things that we do is to be socially accepted. And like within going back to the dog and just the meaning of life, like what it all comes down to, I think we all just crave connection. And when you tell people that you're going to do the thing, you feel connected. And why bother doing a thing when you've already tapped into that? You know, you've already felt like somebody pat your back and told you good job, and that's okay. And you know what? Like it's tough because we form illusions easily, because my expectations for so many things are like up here, but in reality, like it's not as good. Like I'll think of, like I do some TikToks here and there, or
really?
Like even for podcasts, like I have an image in my head, or like in class of who I'm gonna be, what I'm gonna do, and it's never the thing that I expect. You know?
Do you mean like you had to settle in a way because you didn't hit like the like expected goal, or
I didn't, like, the things, our expectations for certain thing like don't meet the reality, and so that kind of that disappointment kind of probably deters people once they make plans. You know what I mean? Like people are so bogged down because majority of life is failure, right? And if like that's continuously every day, you're just gonna feel so much rejection. Going up to the top of a mountain, there's just so many obstacle courses, and when you establish a plan, people just expect the failures, or they have that when you set up a plan, it's usually because it's difficult, it's worth having. And so people just abandon that because it's too difficult. It's not worth the time, but at the same time, it's actually what's most fulfilling. It's actually something that they need to do. Going back to, I think we talked about delayed gratification on the phone a couple of days ago.
Big thing.
That's a big thing. That's
People want like the big picture, and then forget, like once they start the process, they're like, oh, you know what?
Yes.
And that's why you need to value the process too. And it's like not like the ditching the means to an end approach. Like obviously you need to do things for an outcome, but the more you do things in pursuit of the specific consequence or outcome, or like solely just for that outcome, like the less you're actually going to commit to things, the less you're going to enjoy it, the less it's going to feel true to you. Like if you just want to run a marathon to tell people that you ran a marathon and to like be a marathon runner and like look like you're like you have it together because you run a marathon, like you defeat the whole purpose of running. Like it's supposed to be like that journey of training and like feeling connected to it and everything. It's not about how it looks. And I think we get so lost in how it looks, especially with like hustle culture, social media, like every aesthetic popping up every week. Like people are not like finding themselves anymore. They're finding like these categories online to cling on to and then chasing after that and just like forgetting about the process. And they're like, actually, like, this is kind of hard. Like everybody wants to fall into this category, and it's like, just be true to you. And that's how you'll naturally be successful with like the process instead of just focusing on some like outcome of how it looks, you know?
One thing I've realized too is that it doesn't mean it's worth having just because it's hard to achieve. You know?
Yes, I like that.
Just because it took someone years of turmoil and it's difficult to be a billionaire doesn't mean that you should aspire to be a billionaire, you know? Or like being a celebrity, like doesn't mean it's so glorified and everybody loves you and everybody wants to know everything about the nitty-gritty details about your relationships and your personal life. Like, do you really want that? Like, take time to actually think about that. You know, like, do you really want that, or do you just want the outcome? Do you just like the thought of it? You know?
People like the idea of things, and it circles back to our like outcome goals versus feeling goals kind of thing. Make sure you actually want to do that, and you don't just want the idea of doing that. Yeah,
and also like it's not too hot in here. Hey, like I know with the with the AC,
it
my
is
dad.
A little hot. It's the window. Oh, you could open the window.
Even hotter if you do open the window because the AC is, I think, already running. But it should be fine.
Yeah, we'll survive. It's okay.
How has living with ADHD shaped your approach to academics, leadership, and personal growth?
Oh God, this was a journey. I just started like talking about like how I have that, because part of like even like identifying like, oh, I have ADHD, part of it sounds like performative and like kind of like self handicapping in a way, like, oh, like I have ADHD, poor me. But I also like recognize like where it has significantly impacted like personal growth, academics. And I think in terms of that, it's allowed me to be very good at solving problems and innovating and like finding systems that work for me. And I think a lot of that is useful for life all around. Like you need to adapt in life and you need to create your own system because sometimes everything isn't going to work for you. And honestly, like having ADHD, a lot of things like they're more difficult for me to adapt to, like the traditional like school structure or even like 9 to 5, like corporate, like office structure I work in. And I'm like, oh my God, my attention span can't handle this. I'm not going to use that as like a deficiency, but I have to work around it and figure out, okay, what triggers me to like be distracted and fall off topic? Like, what can I do? What can I not do? So I think it's really allowed me to like have a deeper connection with myself and like be able to figure out like what systems work for me and like it's innovative in a way and just working around it, like critical thinking, problem solving. And in terms of school specifically, it's just a lot of like trial and error. And I honestly have adopted the like, if it works for me, it works for me mindset. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sorry, I am not type A and I don't have color coded notes. Sometimes my Google Drive is a mess. Sometimes it's handed in at 11:59, but I got a 95 on it. It was handed in at 11:59. If it works, it works. And I can't hold myself to the like the unrealistic standard. Like I work on what I have issues with, but I'm like, you know what? Like if it's not pretty, if I can't like fall into this one category of type A student, like I don't need to be that type A student. And lately I've been seeing a lot of TikToks of people like talking about being type B law students. And I'm like, you know what, maybe there's hope for me. Cause I think we think of the perfect university students. It's like person who has a color coded notes and everything. And don't get me wrong, I have a color coded Google Calendar or else I will forget things. But it's really just allowed me to appreciate that like you don't have to fit that mold and that template in order to be successful. You can find what works for you. And that also informs my leadership, just like working in group dynamics, because I am very accommodating in the sense that I understand some systems don't work for everyone. And it's made me very adaptable. And I want to meet people where they're at and understand how they work because I understand not everything's so black and white. Like you can't follow it that way. And I think in terms of leadership, it's made me a really like humble leader. And it's also made me stand out and like listening and like taking in those diverse perspectives. And like, if you give people the tools to succeed and the structure they succeed and like teach them how to create their own systems, they will succeed. And it's taught me to see like value in a lot of different people, even if they're not like conventionally like good at handling something or like whatever. Like, and I'm like, I've been there. I've been disorganized, but I set rules for myself. I had to set a lot of rules for myself. And in terms of personal growth, it's really just made me realize like just the importance of recognizing that you can't let this control you, but you can control like how you react to it. And life is really how you react to things. And it's caused me to have a new level of like self-discipline actually and like personal growth. Because when you know what sets you off track, like if I know if I lay down when I get home, I'm not getting stuff done, I'm not laying down. I'm not taking my like outside clothes or whatever off. Like if I know that's the case, like I have a better relationship with myself and understanding what helps me succeed, which is applicable in like all areas of life. So that's really informed that. And yeah, it's just been an experience that has made me like overall like more empathetic and more systems based and taught me really how to work around things and like draw those patterns and things. And I find like I'm a really good big picture thinker. And I think a lot of it is due to that and just kind of having to work around things my whole life and like figure out things that work for me has really created this like grit and resilience. Like I don't think I would have had without it. Like I work hard because I had to go the extra mile, like in even like elementary school sometimes and like and study. And like I probably take twice the time to study as someone like without it would maybe like I just because of like time management, like attention issues, but I'll still get it done. And it's taught me like, okay, put in the work and I'm used to putting in the extra work. So it's like second nature to me to like put in that extra work because I know myself now. Yeah, that was kind of long, but like you get the bigger picture just overall, like going an extra mile.
When you're reading a page in the textbook, because I think I've never been fully diagnosed. I've never been assessed, but I might have it. I just like don't understand what I'm reading sometimes, or it's just blank. Like I'll go through pages on a book and I'm like, what does this mean?
So do you find you're like thinking of different things like when you're reading?
I'm sometimes like my mind just wanders, and I do a lot of meditation work. I try not to scroll as much on TikTok, and I don't think I'm average when it comes to just like my mind, like letting my mind take a hold. Like I actually consciously try to put effort but sometimes I'm not in control, and I try my best. But how does that work when you have ADHD? I heard it's much more intensive, much more difficult to be able to
focus
and keep track of things. How does that work?
Yeah. So like I said, I have to like kind of create all these rules for myself. I like if I go to sit down and read something, like I need some form of background noise. And then I also need to like be in a quiet area, and I can't be at home because when I'm at home, like my brain is on like home mode and I don't want to concentrate. Like I need to go somewhere else where other people are concentrating and do it.
Common for ADHD people?
Yeah, I think it is.
Majority of you've talked to other people who have ADHD and they're the same?
It manifests differently for everyone, but it's just a general issue with like executive dysfunction where you can't like it's hard to do important things that you don't find interesting. So I've gone a long way with like making things interesting for me in every way to be able to get it done. Like a lot of people like apparently when they don't have ADHD, they can just sit down and do something boring, even if they like don't want to do it. And like I used to think that was a discipline problem, but I wanted to do it and I knew it needed to get done, but I just couldn't focus. And like when I talk to other people about this, they're like, yeah, I have these rules I need to follow. Like I can't do school at home. Like I won't leave school until I get it done.
What do you mean you can't focus? Like let's say you're going through like a PowerPoint of notes. Like you just can't sit down, like you can't, like when you're reading it, nothing absorbs. Like how does that?
If it's not really interesting, it doesn't. Like, and if I have to go like the extra mile to really understand it, I'm like, oh my God, like it has to be interesting, novel, and kind of like challenging. Like the only times I don't have struggles like actually like getting through the readings is when I can like immediately see connections to real life, or when it's like something new or interesting. If it's not, like my mind doesn't want to do it, and it feels like literally pulling teeth. Like it actually like feels like pulling teeth. Like I'll go to sit down and do it, and then like the slightest thing, like if I go to get food, I'm like already set off. Or if I go to check a text, like I cannot check my phone when I'm doing school, or else I will get
transitions.
Yeah. Yes, I can't do that. Yeah,
so you kind of you have to be doing that one thing, because one distraction, like if somebody said your name or talked to you, then you'd need a lot more time to get back into the task.
Yeah, it's the zone. Like it takes me so long to get into the zone. I can't do it anywhere. And once I'm in the zone, do not do anything else.
Yeah. Maybe I don't have ADHD then, because I can usually. I was just reading a book, Gone Girl, this morning yesterday morning when my brother was trying to talk to me, show me Roblox games, and I could usually flip-flop between talking to him and still reading the book. And then my dad was giving me a haircut this morning.
Wow.
And I was reading a book, and some information still absorbs. Now I wouldn't have ADHD in that sense.
It's hard to like go on a case by case scenario and say like, oh, if I can do this one thing, then I don't have it. Cause like all people could say like, oh, if you have ADHD, your grades would have been bad. And like, that wasn't, I can still get good grades. So it's just very like case by case dependent. It's more so about like the motivation and like your attention span, and like, I just pretty much like sustained focus on things you don't want to do. And like I'm very like inattentive that way. Like maybe you could have it, but you wouldn't be inattentive. Like I can definitely read some useless ass article at 3 a.m. when I have work the next day, going on this whole rabbit hole instead of reading something I'm actually supposed to and stay focused. Or like I could even do that maybe while multitasking if it was interesting enough, but it's really hard because it's not like if you do this, you have it kind of thing. It's just more so of like everything feels more difficult than it needs to feel. And it feels like everyone else has this like can easily just do things that like you find so hard, and you're confused like why you find it hard and why it's not working. Like in class, I'd be sitting and I'd have a side conversation like in my head, or I'd be thinking about like, oh, this person said this, like I should answer this email. Like, and I'd go on this whole like kind of just like tangent in my own head of like things I need to do that day. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I'm trying to focus. Like what the hell just happened? And then be like, okay, focus. And then the same thing would happen. And I'm like, oh normal, my God.
Though. I thought everybody had that when they're like sitting in class. Because I'm the same way where I'm sitting in class and I'm thinking about the conversation that I had with someone the day before, thinking about what should I do later.
But does it take your attention fully off the course. Like I get in my head.
Yeah, no, sometimes I'll just be sitting in class. I'm like, wait, where are we? Like I don't know, like, out of body experience. Maybe not that to that extent, but yeah, then I'll just go back and go, wow. But like, I think it's like an effort based too with me, because I find that the days where I'm not being aware, like adding conscious effort to be able to just like sit down there and pay attention. Like if I just let nature run its course, then yes, like the thoughts of just whatever pops in comes in. But if I'm like there and I'm like continuously trying to hold my attention to the prof, then I can better regulate my system. But like the sleep comes into play, and kind of if a life event happened, but I don't know if it's just like, that's why I'm trying to talk to people about it, because I'm like, some people say yes, no, or like they relate, they don't relate, and I'm like, huh.
I'll put it this way. If my brain was a computer, it would be on like 5%, have YouTube playing, music playing, 10 different pop-ups at once, probably like a virus. Like,
a virus? Wow.
Like
so
notifications.
You just have like dementia.
No. Notifications, 50 unread emails, like a FaceTime call incoming. Like that is how my brain feels when it is like bad. That is actually what I am like operating on.
Sounds like Alzheimer's, Brooke. You should check that out.
No, that might be dramatic, but like if you could make a like it's just like a computer with 500 different tabs open, and like I'm a great listener, but there's times where I'm like, wait, like what did you say? Like I just
that
tap out.
That's happened many times in the pod. Like especially at the start, like it'll be like 10 minutes goes by and I'm like, what did you say? I don't know.
What did you say?
Yeah, what did you say? Like I don't know. And it's just I'm not gonna tell them hey, can you repeat 10 minutes of what you said? I just kind of
fair.
Next question, but it's tough being able to listen, and I think I treat it as a muscle.
Yeah, I don't know. For sure.
Like, of course, like maybe it'd be harder for you to pay attention at certain things when it comes to things that you don't want to do, but ultimately you can still do it. It's just working around. And you had mentioned that things that didn't work you don't do, and things that do work you keep doing, and then you score 95s on tests.
Exactly.
And it's like I think Tim Ferriss has this idea of like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, because like when you buy like a new software, when it comes to optimizing your learning, or you're playing around with ChatGPT, it's all just seems like really useless at the start. It's like shit, but then you throw it against the wall, and if it sticks, oh wow, this is actually really, really helpful. And then you just keep doing it. Next thing you know, it's actually really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And
And another thing with that is, oh my God, did I forget what I was going to say? Oh, a lot of people say like, oh, do the hardest thing first. Like, I'm sure you've heard that just from a lot of stuff. How that doesn't work if you have ADHD. That doesn't, because you're going to get bored and you're going to get discouraged because it's hard and takes long, and then you're not going to be in the zone. If you do the easy things first and check it off your list as you go, then you're in the zone. Then you're like, okay, hard thing, I'll get that done now too. I may as well. I did all these other things. So gotta just see what advice actually works.
Do you know that financial guy? He's bald, and he's like a radio talk host, and people call him because they have like hundreds of dollars of debt.
Oh no, I've never heard of. No,
I think his name's Dave Ramsey, and he's written many books on how people can pay off their debt, and he goes about it in an irrational way, is to pay the smallest cards, the things that you owe the least, even if they're high interest, or even if the ones that have the most cash in them, the most that you owe with high interest, it's good to check off the little ones first, so you build up the confidence. Like like the rational thing would be to pay off the highest interest, even if they're $3,000, versus if you just pay off like the $100 here, $300 there. It's better to pay off the lower transactions. So you build up that confidence. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's also like life philosophy too, like small wins. And reinforcement. And then gives you the confidence to do larger, and you're going to get discouraged if you like, that's why you kind of do have to start small, like dream big, but start small so you can build the confidence to dream big. And dreaming big could be playing off the big debt, but like start small.
Yeah. No, exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah. You talk about ADHD fueling your resilience and work ethic. What mindset shifts helped you see it as a strength rather than a setback?
Right. So I may have already touched on this just because I talked about how like having to adapt and like completely like trash like systems that might work for other people, not for me, has made me very innovative and good at like problem solving. But I just feel like I have double like the grit and like work ethic because I've spent my whole life like having to go the extra mile to make it work for me. And like I said, it's just like second nature. So I think it's really a strength because I like if I say I'm going to do something, I usually actually get it done. Like obviously there's times where it doesn't, but it's like I'm very like pessimistically determined because I don't want to let this like affect my success in a negative way. Like, okay, I have ADHD, like fuck you. Like I'm not letting this hold me back. I'm getting it done. I don't care. And I'm very like pessimistic and stubborn that way. And I think that's made me so stubborn because I think it would be weak for me to like be like, oh, like I let it get the best of me. Like I hate the fact that my mind like works against me a lot of the time. But I think in knowing that, I'm able to be proactive and try to prevent it doing that. And it just also creates this like competitive drive. Like, okay, like you want to make things like not work out. Like I don't want to be against my mind, but I'm like, okay, like I can't get the motivation to do this today. Like I'm very, like I can't sustain attention today, but you know what? Like we're going to do it anyway. Like you're not winning today. And it's easier said than done. Like I'm medicated. I have to do my like, you know, like little like strategies and rules for myself. Sometimes abuse caffeine, but I'm like, no, like you're not winning. So I think I just didn't want it to let it take control of my life. And once I realized I actually had it, I stopped treating it as like there is something wrong with you, like discipline wise. Like I just thought I was lazy, like before I actually knew I had it. And I was like, how are you lazy if you have like all these big ideas, you want to do all these things, but just can't get your thoughts in order? Like, I'm not lazy. I just need to work around.
I don't think it's pessimism though. Wouldn't that be optimism? Because you view that and you accept it for what it is, and you're forward thinking.
Yeah, like I mean, like pessimistic in the way that it's like I'm not.
Oh, you see it as a bad thing?
No, not a bad thing at all. I'm just like, it's going to be this way. Like some people who are like very like pessimistic, like maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing, like stubborn. I meant like to say stubborn, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I am like, no, like I am not going to let this take over my life. Like I'm stubborn about the fact that I like want to be successful, and I'm going to do like anything it takes to do that. And even if it's like my ADHD is like really pissing me off and like it not necessarily like the best situation to deal with when I have to like be successful in like maybe type A kind of like super organized environments. But I've just really made a conscious effort to like adapt from it instead of like letting it limit me. And like, yes, I do have to have some grace and say, you know, it affects me, but I'm not letting it like win. So I'm like stubborn in that way where I'm just like, so like, I don't want to let it take control.
You won't let it define you.
Yes.
Like, yes, this thing makes it difficult for me. And I see a lot of my peers, they go about it much easier. But if it takes them 2 hours to study, I'll double it. If it's not enough, I'll triple it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'll do what it takes. It makes me mad. Like other people like don't struggle with that. I'm like, what do you mean you don't find it hard to do things that you find boring? Like
I have the same thoughts when it comes to my skin, because I stay away from carbs. I drink green tea and I try everything to ensure that my skin is healthy, because like going through a lot of skin issues when it comes to acne.
Do you have really bad acne before?
Yeah. I still kind of do. I'm on Accutane. And
I got off of that actually. Yeah, it's quite the experience.
I'm on like my 7th month, and it's depressing. Like I've never had this low mood. Like I've never been this depressed. Yeah, like it's crazy.
Yeah,
I've never had this much dry skin. My eyes are just so dry.
And your joints probably hurt too.
Joints, yeah.
I felt so unhealthy on it. My hair was dry.
Yeah.
Like it's.
How long were you on it for?
So I was supposed to be on it for like 8 months, I think. And then my skin cleared up really fast. And I went to my derm and I'm like, hey, do I need to put my body through this? It's like already cleared up. And he was like, well, like just stick it out for 6 months. And then I was like, okay, I stuck it out for 6 months, only ended up doing like 5. because I still had a couple packets left, and I just stopped taking it. And I shouldn't have done that because it started coming back. And then I was like, oh no. Like it full on cleared my skin because out of nowhere, like I just got really bad like cystic acne. Like I've never had it. Ruined my confidence because I had good skin my whole life. And I'm sure you understand. It's actually
terrible.
It's horrible. You wake up and you're just like, oh.
No matter how much sleep I get, I still feel tired.
Yeah. It's something. And then I went on it for 5 months and it cleared it up. But I was like starting to get it again. Now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go to derm. But it's not easy. It's bad. Yeah,
and the scars you get from the pimples too. If you don't go on it, you're just like, oh yeah, I'll take the blow now, and you're thinking about the future. Right. Yeah. Delayed gratification. Right. But it's like, I know. But like going back to that topic, it's like a lot of people don't like just eat like shit all the time. And prior to this, I was doing all these things and having healthy skin was so easy for people, you know, like I had my friends who ate McDonald's twice a week and they had perfect skin. Right. What is this? They were drinking every day. It's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair, but it's like going back to the victimization. You're not going to get any good outcomes by going, boo-hoo me. Yeah, and
comparing and being like, it's not fair. They have it. Like, okay, they can drink every week and not gain 20 pounds. Like, you know yourself when that happens to you. Watch it.
You eat one chip and you're 50 pounds heavier. Yeah, right? It's like,
know yourself.
No, I struggle with maintaining my weight as well when it comes to like overeating. And I do intermittent fasting now. I do a lot of, I exercise pretty much every day, but it's just so good. I can overeat. It's crazy.
Oh, same,
like a lot of people that like, they just have a fit body without going to the gym and going. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
But you know, that's them. They got lucky.
It's just I'm all for life is equal, but our like actions, our effort, you know, that's what makes this world the meritocracy, and that's what creates opportunity, and that's just life, you know.
Man, sometimes
the system.
You can work so hard and it still like doesn't work out for you. You also need to be okay with that. Like sometimes that's life. Like that's life.
Sometimes you can put in blood, sweat, and tears and just nothing happens. And it's okay. You won't have to regret it then. What advice would you give to students struggling with ADHD who are feeling discouraged about their potential?
Right. There's nothing wrong with you and you're not like bound to be unsuccessful. Just find ways to work around it, even though it's hard and easier said than done. The first part just starts with understanding yourself and really coming to terms that this does affect you, but you have to draw a line between like having that grace and also being like, hey, I'm not going to let this control me. But for like day-to-day tips, if something takes under 10 minutes to do, 5 minutes to do, you need to make that phone call, send that email, do it. Do not put off anything that takes under fucking 10 minutes to do, or else you will never do it because you're like, oh, it takes 10 minutes to do. No, don't do
just
that.
Just reply to that text.
Yeah, like just reply to that text.
Because then it builds up and you're not gonna, next thing you know, it's just, you can't tackle it anymore because there's too many of it.
I know. Yeah. And also, another thing is put deadlines earlier than they actually are. Set your phone time back if you need, little things like that. Even like, I don't know, just, it's so hard to keep on top of things and like prioritize. I actually like paid for this notebook that this person makes like on my iPad. I just like scribble it in and like I rank my tasks by how long it takes to do them, the importance of them, and the energy level it takes. So
oh wow.
Yeah, it's a system, but it works for me because I draw all my tasks and my to-dos. I separate it from like personal life, like do my taxes, appointments, whatever, and school. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to rank these by like how long it takes to do them, whatever, like the energy level. And then it really like guides me like where to start. Cause when there's so much, you don't know where to start. And there's that. And then I have a couple other tricks. There's also, like, it's as simple as like, even like planning your week in advance. Like I'll have things I want to do in a day and I could get done, but then I have my non-negotiables. So you have to make sure to differentiate those. And also exercise. I can't believe like if there's people with ADHD that like don't exercise, not even if like, even if you don't like fitness, like the like endorphins and like dopamine it gives you has you set. Yeah. I started prioritizing school way too much to the point where I kind of I exercised, but it wasn't like as much as I was used to. And I was like, why do I feel so depressed? And it's like, cause you're not exercising. It does wonders. Like even just a walk, even just take a walk before you have to sit down and focus. Like, I am not going to go to work and then say I'm going to work on school after. I'm either going to the gym or taking a walk. Like, make that a non-negotiable. I don't care what you have to do. And there's a lot of tips online, and you just need to find like those little like weird rules for yourself. Like, if it takes under 10 minutes, just do it. And like most normal people might just do it anyways, but we like to put those things off.
Yeah. We like to build a system that works for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And just, it's just about building those systems. That's like the advice I have. It's like, you're not going to fail. You just have to work around it, which is harder, but pick your hard. Like, do you want to like tell yourself like your whole life, like, oh, like I had ADHD, I gotta do it. Don't set unrealistic expectations for yourself. Like, you know what you're good at and what you're not good at. But also just don't like let it immediately define you. And like, I think even online, like mental illness is so commodified and it's getting really weird. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, everybody wants to like
BetterHelp,
label
baby.
themselves. Yeah. Oh my God, BetterHelp.
Yeah, you've seen that? Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah.
I know. Every time I watch YouTube, or like people love like the label of like having some sort of mental illness to like be like, hee, I'm so like ADHD. And it's like, haha, like I actually really wish I didn't have this sometimes.
No, exactly.
So, no, it's not like
it's not
quirky.
Cute. Like,
yeah,
it's
no.
not, like people would seem to embody that, hey, I'm anxious, you know, I'm depressed.
Like
that
BPD,
makes me
like shut up.
Yeah, no, nobody likes to have this.
No.
Like, it's not a good experience to have. And then like bring awareness to this. It's meant so that people understand what it's like, and that it's not an easy feat, or it's not an easy day to go about having all these rampant emotions that just
it's something. And just also be honest with people that you have it. Like, I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I'm like I like don't have like I'm very upfront about it, and I don't like do this to create the expectation that I'm gonna be like disorganized or people are gonna be disappointed. It's just like, hey, like this is not like who I am. It doesn't define me, but this is also like fundamentally affects the way I do act and behave and like go about my day. So it's important to know. And I carved out my spot, and there's a lot of type B people out there who can still succeed. So.
You've mentioned how working various jobs, even the ones considered bad, played a big role in building your skills. What's one lesson from those early jobs that still impacts you today?
Okay. Big one is, honestly, if something feels like it's not serving you, or you feel disrespected and it's not for you, you need to find more reasons to leave than to stay. This could be a relationship, a job, whatever. And I say this in light of like talking about like shitty minimum wage jobs, because I was grinding. Like, I worked a lot of jobs and I was making money and it was good. But these type of jobs make you feel like you have to be a slave to their company, and like just like essentially like do everything for them, and like your personal feelings don't matter. And like even like fast food restaurant industry.
You said you worked at McDonald's?
Yes, I did work at McDonald's.
Me too.
Oh God, you know it then. They would ask me.
Oh, they abuse me.
They do. They take advantage of like the 15-year-old, 16-year-olds that work there, like even like just young people in general. And they're like, you want to stay extra? Yes, you do. You want more money? Come in. And it's just like, and when you're young, like I didn't know any better. And I was like, okay, like fine. Like I have to be a good employee. Like I cared too much. And then I realized like, I should have just left when I felt like disrespected. And that's easier said than done. Like if you need a job, you need a job. But like, don't keep doing that.
They were bullies there.
They
like
are.
They called me names. Like one point, one of the managers called me a snail.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Or I guess
it's not
a
okay.
turtle, because they thought I was really slow, I guess. But it was just, I guess I'll take some accountability too. I was slacking off a bunch, but like, I'm 15, 16,
right?
You know?
No, you get it.
And then they make you feel bad for not wanting more shifts or taking too little shifts.
I know. And I think as much as that's just like minimum wage, as much as it's just like minimum wage culture or whatnot, I think it's really like it can be applied everywhere in life. It's like not staying in those situations where you're not being respected, and like having those uncomfortable conversations is so important. And I didn't learn that until later on. Like I didn't advocate for myself at jobs like that, especially because you're vulnerable, you're young. And I think working all those bad jobs taught me to advocate for myself, taught me not to take disrespect. Like you need to know your place, do your job. It's not your world. Like you still have to abide by work rules, like bust your ass to McDonald's, whatever. But you need to advocate for yourself. And another situation was when I worked for this like really small convenience store, and like family businesses are kind of like sketchy sometimes. Like sometimes they don't like have ethical practices, and they were never giving me my pay stubs. And you know how you have like your vacation pay that accumulates? I was like, I don't think I'm getting my vacation pay. I don't think I am. And I was like asking them for pay stubs. They wouldn't give it to me. And I'm like, this is actually like a violation. Like, this is like, I'm entitled to this. I don't care. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to this. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to advocate for myself. And like, maybe this wasn't the most mature way to go about it, but I had confronted them about the pay stubs and they didn't give them to me. So I quit. And I posted something on the talks of where I live. Like, you know how they have like Sherwood Park talks, whatever, about them
awareness.
them not giving me pay stubs because they weren't going to give mine. They weren't giving my vacation pay.
I don't think it's immature. I think it's it's warning other people who may be in that exact same situation and letting them know of a potential crime.
But I had like another intent in mind. Like, sure, I posted it for that, but I posted it because I'm like, okay, you don't want to give me my pay stubs because I'm like 16 and you don't take me seriously. Okay, I'll post this on Beaumont Talks where I live. I'll write a bad review. Okay, let's see if you're still going to ignore my text about a pay stub. I print off all of my or all of like the regulations around it and like my calculations of what I thought I should have gotten for vacation pay, because I was like, I don't think I got vacation pay. It was probably like $300 accumulated. The irony is they actually like owned a law firm. I didn't understand that. I pulled up to the law firm after they had called me being like, delete the post. Like they actually were like, please delete. Yes. This is like kind of messy. Like, nobody would know who this
is. You're 16
but, like,
at the time.
Yeah. Like 16, 17. This was with the help of my parents a little bit. So they were like, can you please like delete that post? Like, it doesn't reflect well on our company. And the post wasn't trashy or like rude in any way. Like, it was just like, this is what happened to me. Like, I'm just making people aware. Yeah. Pulled up to the law firm with the document saying like, I'm entitled to this. I like highlighted the little spot that said that.
This is already what planted on the seed.
Yeah. I forced them to settle because with the post, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pressure you to give me my money. Printed it out, went there, got my like almost $400 of vacation pay. And that taught me advocate for yourself. If I was like too scared because I was like, oh my God, they own a business. Like, I'm not going to like speak up. Like, you need to advocate for yourself and like find more reasons to leave and advocate for yourself than stay and be a people pleaser.
An episode of Suits right here.
Yeah, right? Kind of unreal. But yeah, this is a different side to me. But it's, that just advocate for yourself.
Awesome. That's actually really, like, for a 16-year-old, like I wouldn't have the balls to do that. Fuck. I just feel like $300, $400, you know, it's whatever.
Well, when you're 16.
That's a lot of money when you're 16. Yeah.
Part of me is like, I don't want to let people get away with this.
But I don't think it wasn't really the money, you know? It was more the principle. Fact they wronged you, you know?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was.
Like somebody can like elbow you accidentally and like it may hurt more than somebody doing it on purpose. And it's the intent, right? That's what that's why we're angry, right? It's just injustice
and lack of respect too. And even at McDonald's, I'm sure you experienced that. It's like they would probably ask you to stay later and you're like, no, I'm not. And they're like, stay. And it's like,
I told you 2 weeks ago, I'm going on vacation. Why am I not allowed now? Like they'll do shit like that where it's like, and then they make me feel bad for asking for asking time off. Like,
it's so bad.
I'd be driving home and I'd be like, man, I'm such a failure for not wanting for asking time off for Father's Day.
It gets
like,
you.
It gets to
you.
And
you don't know the difference when you're young.
And then when you call in, right, when you're like, there's so many times where they go, why? Like, I've told you the reason why. And they make it hard. Like, so now I'm just dreading the fact of going to work next time. And it's like, oh, what are they going to say? Are they going to like, why were you like, they're confrontational about it too. And I'm like, what is this? Is this what like a real job is like?
No, it's actually not. Like, I mean, you have like the professional standards, but it's just so absurd. Like looking back, like how you put up with that and how much it informs your like people pleasing tendencies or self-worth.
Dude,
and then
it's tough.
Teaches you to stand up for yourself and not put up with that. If someone said that to me on a job now, I'd be like, excuse me? Bye.
What?
Like I'll be courteous with taking time off and I'll respect, but like you guys would replace me in 2 days if like I quit. So what is it? Like,
true.
It's
Why do you think people are quick to discount non-traditional experiences, and how can we reframe the way we look at them?
Yeah. So I think people are like, circling back to what I was talking about before, they're so focused on like the checkpoints of like what makes success or like what makes success in a specific industry or what the like perfect lawyer or doctor looks like, that like people aren't really leveraging like their individual experiences to like make connections within that industry and make connections to greater life. Like I think a lot of people skim over the fact that like I don't know, that they like had like a stupid little business when they were 12. But like my friend would put that she had like a lemonade stand business when she was little on her resume. And like, even though that's so like it could be insignificant or stupid, like employers actually were like, haha, like that's funny. And they liked it. So that's like a good example of like, don't discount like things that you think aren't in line with industry or your idea of like what successful is in that industry. And I think a lot of people aren't making those connections between like the untraditional experiences or like some struggle they went through or like bad jobs they worked and like the other industry. Like I'm sure like a higher up corporate job or like any sort, like I guess like big girl job kind of title, if you will, would appreciate someone who has work experiences and like fast food and like restaurant and like just like a long work experience in jobs over someone who's never worked a job in their life, but like has the credentials. Like who stands out more? Like even if it's not industry relevant, like talk about what you learned in that. Like people need to figure out like what they're learning from these experiences and how there's something to be applied like in every experience almost. Like there's a lesson and there's value in that. And I think we skim over that like so often. And I kind of already talked about that before, but even selling yourself and branding yourself too, like own it. Own the fact that you had to work at McDonald's at 16 or like you didn't get an internship at your like dad's company in summer and you didn't get like straight in, but like own that. Like that's valuable. Like I openly talk about how I didn't get good grades at first now because I think like I'm at a weird point where a lot of people come to me and they're like give me advice. And I'm like, you're asking me for advice? Like what? Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm going to be so honest. Like I didn't get good grades at first. This is what worked for me. Like I'm not going to pretend like it all worked out. And I think some people might assume that about me, like if they looked at like LinkedIn or like what I'm posting all the time, but like that is not real. Like that is not like I keep it real, but it's not like all how it looks. Like it was, I couldn't even speak in class first year university. Like you don't discount that.
Like you also see a lot of Karens or a lot of people getting mad because their order is late and they're making a big ruckus.
Right.
But like going to McDonald's and working 30 hours per week, right? Getting abused.
Oh my God.
Now you have a lot more empathy for people. And that's like something that you can't really, people don't put thought in, like being able to empathize with people and like their friend with the lemonade stand. It's like having that idea of being taking initiative and just being, different. It's just like, it's just funny too. Like when you read that, it's like, haha, like that's awesome.
Like use it. It's what makes you stand out.
Yeah. And then over the years, right, as you learn more and more, you just look back and you go, wow, I've actually, all these experiences, well, some of them, weren't directly related to the field that I want to be in. They've taught me about like the system. Okay. Like, and it's just like this butterfly effect of like when you have discipline in one area, like you're probably just going to have better studying habits, or you're probably just going to have a better relationship because you have those tough talks, and you can delay gratification in this aspect, and everything just correlates. And I'm a firm believer of how you do one thing is how you do everything. Right.
Mel Robbins kind of has a quote about this, and it's so important to realize like how things are transferable for everything in life. She says, do everything like you're getting paid $1 million to do it. And when she said that in her podcast, I was like, write that down. Because if you like, even when it comes to like mopping a floor or like doing something that you might not think is that significant, like if you make your bed, like you're getting paid $1 million to do it. And like, I guess like don't overthink it. Don't put too much effort into it. But the principle of that quote is saying like, the more you do things like you're getting paid $1 million to do it, the more you unlock potential you didn't know you had. And the more that comes in when you need to do the big important things, and people can tell. Like if you do everything like you're getting paid $1 million to do it, like you're just going to realize things about yourself you didn't even before. And I was like, wow, like what would we realize, or what would I learn about myself, or how would it be if I did everything like I was getting paid $1 million to do it in a realistic way for a whole month? Like how would that look?
Yeah. There's this question that comes up too of, if you grabbed every single opportunity, what would your life look like? If you gave it your very best, what would it look like? Like, and a lot of people, if you say, yes, I've grabbed every single opportunity. No, that's a lie. Like a lot of us fall short, and we don't take the opportunities because we're too scared, because what are they going to think? Or I don't have enough time, or all these excuses. But what would your life look like? Yeah. If you treated everything as you're going to be paid $1 million, like what would it look like? Like I can think back to my like, of course, like this is all rooted in regret too, right? It's what if I just did that? It all makes sense years on later. But even then, right? What if you just did? What if you put in everything you've got? And that's
it really makes you think. And that's why I recommend listening to Mel Robbins at the beginning of every morning. She will clock your ass and have you thinking on the way to work. Like, I swear it puts me in a different perspective. Like every day.
I love listening to her.
Yeah. I have so many like things I've written down from her podcast. And I'm like, damn.
I've read 2 of her books.
Oh, you've actually read her books? I haven't. You've read have you read Let Them and
5 Hands, something like that?
5 Hands. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. She something with the number 5, but it was a great book.
Cool.
But thank you so much for coming on the Long-Term Podcast.
Yeah, I had a great time. I hope you guys took something away from this.
This is great. I think you're gonna be a great law student one day, be a great lawyer after that. And I think congratulations on being the president of which club?
The University of Alberta Law Club.
Wow. Deserved.
Thank you.
Deserve everything you've got with all the effort that you've put in. Yeah, it's great. Thankful.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And do you have any last words?
If you take anything away from this, it's if you've been thinking about reinventing yourself, just go do it. Just go read some Mel Robbins. You need to listen to Mel Robbins.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great. A lot of topics. Hope you learned something.
Yeah. And as always, to everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope. Strengthen your faith and keep it long term. Brooke Maclean, everyone. Peace.
Peace.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Awesome.